Well, this is our regular January board meeting. I'll call it to order. We do have a quorum. And the first motion of business would be the Pledge of Allegiance. If we want to stand up and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we go into the approval of the minutes, I just wanted to speak briefly at the end about the library plan coming up, and I was wondering if I could have a motion to add the 2022 to 27 library plan as an agenda item for tonight. Do I have a motion? Tally, a second? Lauren, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We'll just add that to the end.
Here comes Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen. Okay, the next item of business is approval of the minutes. I have some changes, corrections. Under Chair's report, we had Ms. O'Neill encouraged. It said had encouraged, had should be added. And then the third sentence, she reported feeling, I think if we replace it by she felt that the current 5-year plan is a good model of how to approach it.
I have another change. It's that same paragraph.
Yep.
For some reason, mine printed out line items. It's line number 70, which is like
mine did too.
So line 70, it says taking points, and I think you meant talking points.
Yep. Then if we go to the budget, on line 110, I think it should read, Ms. Kareem will be meeting with the town manager, deputy town manager, and financial director.
Oh, I see.
And then on line 125, I think it should be the town took a facilities master plan. So there are many library capital expenses. It should be are instead of is. And I had one more. Was Greg saying something? Now I can't remember where that was. It was
Linda's
the next
coming in.
two. Pardon?
Linda is coming in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the one other place I marked. Well, I can't find it now.
Okay. I have one spelling correction on director's report, the second paragraph. Canopy should begin with a K rather than a C.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Does anyone else have any more corrections, additions, deletions? If not, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Amber, do I have a second?
Second.
Mark, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good, passed unanimously. We don't have a public audience, so we will skip that. Under communications, I will read you an email that Lisa received that I was aware of. This is from Elizabeth Burt. Dear Lisa, I've resigned my position on the Library Board of Trustees due to COVID restrictions and technical difficulties that severely limited my ability to participate in the board's meetings and deliberations. I already discussed this with Marianne and notified the town clerk and the chair of the Democratic Town Committee so someone can be named to take my place. I regret having to resign after serving on the board for so short a time. I appreciate everything you and the board do for Simsbury and wish you a healthy new year. Best wishes, Elizabeth Burt.
Oh.
So we will see what the process is. The town committees of the party of the person that resigns from a board put forth a proposed person to fill in the term, and then it goes to the Board of Selectmen for approval. So it'll depend on them how quickly that's acted upon. I don't have any other communications. Do you, Lisa?
I don't, but I think Greg has a question.
Who does?
Greg?
Oh,
Yeah.
Greg, yes.
I just wanted to say thanks to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is also the head of the Simsbury Beautification Committee and
Right.
has done a lot of stuff for the town. I'm part of that group, so it's unfortunate that she has to leave this group, but she's very active still in the community. So,
And she does most of the plantings around the library.
well, she does some of them. Yeah, she does.
Yep.
Right by the upper level, that whole bed there, that's all
Yep.
hers. Yes, absolutely. But she does other stuff in town, which we all do, islands and things like that. So,
Right.
but thanks to her.
Yes, I second that definitely. Lisa, do you have any other communications?
I don't.
Okay. Greg, do you want to give us a friends report?
Well, it will be brief. We did the gifting that we talked about for December, and we did not have a group meeting, but we will have one this month. I'd have to thank Lisa and her people for helping us do what we had to do. And we're moving forward on some things. I have a couple of people lined up possibly for our empty positions on the committees, and I will get back to you on that. Also, last time, Tali asked about how we were doing on membership. And prior to the end of the year, we were tracking about the same as last year. Now, I don't have anything after the first of the year, but okay, we're still working on that, Tali. So I did hear what you said, and yeah, we're on it. So we'll keep
Thank
going.
you. No, that's great. We're tracking the same percentage as last year. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's also, we're trying to, and with Lisa's help, we're trying to figure out donations to the Friends in addition to donations to the library. Obviously, it all goes to the same place, but Lisa and I are working on some things about where we put the donation tab on the website and a few other things. But thanks for Lisa on that, and we'll get back to you all on that.
Good. Any other questions of Greg? Under Chair's report, I was going to mention the library plan, but I think we'll just wait on that at the end of the meeting since we added it to the agenda. And again, just a reminder that next month's meeting is also a different date. It's the first Monday of February instead of the 3rd, which is a holiday. And then we'll go on to the normal schedule. Lisa, you provided us with the budget through December. Does anyone have any questions on it? Talk about tracking to the percentage point. Anybody have anything?
There's nothing of note to report, so.
Yeah, no, okay, then moving on to the big part of this meeting is we have to submit through Lisa our proposed budget to the town manager. She reviews it, works with the different towns departments, and then finalizes her budget, which goes to the Board of Selectmen. For any of you that haven't been involved, they go through workshops to understand what each of the items are, especially those that might be added, and ultimately come up and approve a budget that they then submit to the Board of Finance. And then the Board of Finance meets with both Board of Education and the town to come up with a final budget to submit for a referendum. So Lisa, I'm going to let you track through the proposed budget.
Sure. Before I do that, I do have dates for the public budget hearings.
Oh, okay.
The first one is scheduled for April 6th at 5:45. And it may be continued on April 7th at 5:45. And those will, of course, be virtual.
Yep. That's good to know. It's what they've done in the past too are solicit input for public audience. And I'm assuming it'll probably be appropriate at this time. And as we get closer, we can talk about, what we might want to convey and stress in support of our budget. So I'll let you just explain it a little bit, Lisa.
Sure. Just before we go into the numbers, the budget narrative, it's one of the last things I submitted to you. It was very challenging to come up with the goals for next year or next fiscal year, not knowing how COVID will be active in the world. So I just wanted to note that was very challenging. But so we'll be monitoring those, and they may change or be tweaked as things in the world change.
I think that's true with everything. Lisa, can I just mention one thing on the library staffing page?
Yes.
I think the total under fiscal year 1920 should be 23.23 instead of 10, 23.10.
I'll check that.
Okay.
And the reason that it went up is because the teen services librarian became a full-time teen services librarian. Okay, so then going to numbers for the budget. The proposed budget for next year in total is $1,729,416. That's a change of $38,784 over last year, or 2.3%. And that is just contractual expenses and utility expenses. So those are the things that we are responsible for regardless. The only service improvement request that we're putting in is the restoration of children's material budget to 2008. And that would be about $8,100. So then with the service improvement request, we're at $1,737,516. And that's a total percent change of 2.8%. Now, the guidance from the Board of Finance overall for the town budget was 1.5%. So that's just something to keep in mind.
But also for those that are new, our personnel costs are the highest part of our budget,
Yes.
and a much higher percentage than any of the other departments in town.
Yes.
So, and it's a small number, but everybody else would not be putting in that. So makes it look bigger than it really is in the scheme of things.
Exactly. And then we talked about the capital improvement projects that are on the books from last year, the architectural study for the BCC. I actually need to change that to BCC for $35,000. And then to replace the reference and adult services computers for $35,100. And the conversation with the town manager will be, should we push those off?
And you're thinking that probably.
Because we just upgraded them to Windows 10 and they're functioning much better than they were. And then at the BCC, we did a sort of reorganization to make it more of a co-working space now. And of course, with COVID, it's being underutilized. So it's hard to tell which way that will go going forward. I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah, so the highlighted part in yellow is what we'll be submitting.
No, it's the column to the right of the yellow.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But as you can see, just going down, there are very little places where it's gone up at all. You can see where it's basically contracts and personnel costs under a union contract.
And I noted on the summary page that with the minimum wage increase, that's already a $4,200 increase.
Yep. The pages are at minimum wage for anyone that's not aware of that. Amber?
Lisa, my question is, I mean, with the town guidance at 1.5%, would that even be enough to cover the required increase under the union contracts?
No.
In the past, Amber, our number has been higher than that, but as I said, because personnel costs is about 70% of our total budget, the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Department is aware of that, because those aren't under our control.
Right.
And it's also 1.5% overall across the entire town.
Right, not each department.
So ours is just a piece of that. But across the town, that 1.5% is not enough to cover the contractual increases that are expected. So.
Oh, it's not across the town?
Not likely, no.
Any other questions?
The only other thing that we need to approve tonight is the projected revenue. And again, with COVID being the way it is and not knowing where we'll be next year, I tried to estimate very, very conservatively.
Yeah, I don't see how, conference rooms and things like that. Who knows when we'll be able to start doing that again.
Right, and we need to be open more hours to actually make the print and copy income go up, so.
And actually, we can't collect coins now anyway, can we? Or cash. Right. So if you go into print now, it's free. It has to be free.
Up to $5, yes.
Yep. Are there any other questions from anybody? If not, could I have a motion to support the submission of the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget request, including the service improvements of $1,737,000, $1,737,000. I'm not $737,516, which is a 2.8 increase. Do I have a motion to do that?
I motion that forward.
Holly? Okay. In a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I just want to comment that I recognize how difficult it is to put forward a budget with all the unknowns, not only in this, trying to come forward and project the next 6 months and then the year beyond that is very difficult. And I appreciate, Lisa, all your efforts on that. And I recognize that, this is a good budget, and it's just very difficult to project, but especially on the income side and when we'll be able to open, et cetera. So
thank you. I mean, it's a conservative budget, as we always put forth.
yes.
Which is why I think we've had the success we have in having our budget accepted. Not too many cuts, but so is there any more comment on the budget before we vote on it? Okay, all in favor of submitting the budget as addressed? Say aye.
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 Any noes? So it's passed unanimously.
So the next step in the budget process is for me to meet with the town manager, the deputy town manager, and the finance director to review any things that they think are too high, things we might have to tweak. And then we may come out of that meeting with a little bit different looking budget, which will come back to you before it goes back to the town.
Right. And we also wind up down in the year, the library itself budgets to its bottom line, not necessarily the line items, so those are usually right on target. But we do have some flexibility. Okay, the next item that we added is a library plan. And as I said the last time, I think we'll probably choose to follow the same approach that we did 5 years ago, which basically is going out, soliciting input from the town residents to see what type of town they want Simsbury to be, and then coming back and seeing how the library can help meet those goals. Not just what can the library do as an island, but really just to help Simsbury meet those goals. And while I don't think we can realistically start gathering a lot of the input back for a few months until maybe hopefully we get things a little more open, I do think we can start formulating or really looking at the questions that we want to ask and setting up a structure. So what I would ask each of you over the coming week, if you could let me know who would be willing to work on the subcommittee that will basically do the bulk of the work on the plan. The entire plan will be submitted from the board. It's the entire board, and certainly the input of everyone will be valued. But we do need to have a core group that will bring other members in. In the last time, we not only had board members, but we had people from outside the board, so we got different points of view. So I would ask all of you if you could just drop me a note if you're willing to participate in this as board members. This will be developing the document that you want to guide and have the direction for the library in the next 5 years. It's, I think the plan that we did before came out really well, and I think will be very successful, but it won't be done in our regular board meetings. So obviously those will have to be by Zoom too, but they will be separate, just a subcommittee. And as I said, if you could think about it and get back to me, it'd really be appreciated. And we can see what we can do to get it kicked off.
Can I also add that we had Friends representation last time as well?
We had Friends. We had a representative from the Board of Ed. We had, Tali was the Friends representative. We had different organizations in town. We had seniors represented. But when it comes down to it, it will be the board's plan. But it really was to get as much of a cross pollination of ideas from the entire town, not just to focus on one demographic. And I think Lauren or Tali, you alluded that it's important to see what we can do to bring people who might not be, the most often library user. So if you could let me know that and say within the next coming week, I would really appreciate that.
Marianne, I have a question.
Yes.
When do you anticipate that we would have the plan ready for a vote? When?
Hopefully by the end of the year.
End of the year. Okay. All right.
Yep. Yeah, it's not, it's not going to be, all out. We've got to do this in a month at all. It took us time. I think where we will save time is, again, depending on the subcommittee and the way they feel. I think the approach that we had and the format was very successful in being able to explain the plan to the community, explain it to others, and to get the input. But it's the work of gathering the input, assessing what that is and how the library can help address that, and then put it together.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But I do think, the approach will be the same, and I think we've gotten used to that now, as well as the format. I'm not saying it's a done deal. That's up to the committee.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have any comments? Lauren?
Yeah, I would very much like to be on the committee, but I did want to I spoke to Marianne earlier today that I will not be able to participate as a board member as part of this planning committee because I will need to resign. Looks like my husband and I are moving out of town in the near future. I don't want to say too much because we have some details up in the air. But since this was going to come up tonight, I just wanted to take a moment before it's all official and thank each of you really from the bottom of my heart for being such a great group of people to work with, for supporting the community and each other the way we have. It's been a remarkable experience, and I really look forward to participating in some way to help you keep it going, because what you've got here is a rather special group and board. So thank you all.
Well, Lauren's been wonderful with her grant writing. She's gotten the library over $500,000 in the term that she's been here. She just has a wonderful way of being able to express what the library does, capture the essence of it, and the users. And Lauren, we can't thank you enough. But
Truly, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.
When I talked to her earlier, she has agreed to stay on the committee, although not as a trustee, but as an interested party. That certainly she was on the committee the last time, and it will enable us to have continuity.
Well,
we will miss you,
Lauren. Yes, very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much.
Miss you all too. I can tune in though, because we have this wonderful streaming service.
Right.
That's true.
That's true. That's basically all I have now. Does anyone have anything else that they would like to bring up or put on a future agenda?